Hello and welcome to today's practice. Our practice today is going to emphasize bringing balance to the elements of nature that are predominant throughout the month of May. So, the earth and water are still present, and this leads to more of like a coolness in the air or dampness in the air, can sometimes lead to congestion or a heaviness in the chest, some puffiness in the skin. But the heat is becoming more predominant as it's slowly increasing as we get closer to summer. As the heat begins to rise, we can experience some sense of discomfort or the feeling of being uncomfortable as a direct result of the external heat, as our body tries to stabilize and get used to the external warmth. This heat can also cause a little bit of emotional irritability or a sense of frustration. So, today, our practice, we're going to focus on bringing balance to the earth and water elements by some focus on opening the chest. We're also going to bring in a little bit of cooling quality through some breathing techniques and some of our poses that direct energy down into the pelvis, the legs, and close to the earth. So, we're going to come down to the belly, laying in crocodile. So you can put your blanket across the center of your yoga mat so that your hip points are resting on the blanket. The blocks can go to the front short side of the mat. You're going to stack your palms and rest your forehead down on your stacked palms. As you arrive, if you notice any achiness in your low back, you could sway your hips from side to side. You might also bend your knees, pull your heels in toward the buttocks, and maybe sway the legs a few times from side to side. Eventually finding stillness. Take this time to feel the front body connect to the earth, acknowledging how our individual self is connected to what's happening in the natural environment. Acknowledging how the external weather impacts our inner environment. And beginning to breathe a little more deeply. Feel the fullness of the exhalation and how that full release creates space for the next deep breath in. Okay, last exhalation here. We're going to slide the hands underneath of the low chest. Press the hands down to the mat and lift the body up to table. Adjust the knees so that they're placed on the blanket support. Bring the big toes closer, touching. Take the knees wide and let the hips reach back toward the heels in child's pose. Press the hands or even the fingerprints down to the floor and lift the forearms and the elbows away from the earth. A more energizing version of this shape with the forearms lifted. Deep breath. The deep breath moves lymph through the lymphatic channels, assist in that process of lymphatic flow. And that deeper breath also soothes an agitated mind. Last exhale here. Inhale, let the hips rise. Find table. Align your knees beneath your hips, hands slightly wider than the shoulders. Spread the fingers. Inhale, release the belly down toward the floor. Lift and open the heart. Exhale, round the spine. Draw the tailbone down, draw the shoulder blades apart, and slightly bring the chin toward the chest. Inhale, release the belly down toward the floor. Lift the heart and chin. Exhale, press the hands and round through the spine. Inhale, release the belly down toward the floor. Lift and open through the heart. As you exhale, tone the belly, press the balls of the feet into the mat, and lift the knees, coming into the first downward facing dog. Taking a moment here to pedal out through the knees and the feet. And then if you like, you could take your feet as wide as your yoga mat so that the outer edges of your feet line up with the outer edges of your mat. And maybe even bend the knees a little bit. That's going to roll the pelvis slightly forward, creating the curve in the low back. The wider stance in downward facing dog is good when there is excess heat building in the body. Heat can collect at the inner thighs, and this wider stance has more of a cooling quality to it. Take a deep breath in, sighing exhale out through the mouth. Bring the feet back underneath of the sitting bones, feet about hip bone distance apart. Take the gaze forward and then walk your feet forward, coming into forward fold. Inhale, take halfway lift so hands can slide up onto the shins. Draw the shoulders down the back as you reach long through the crown of your head, and then exhale, fold into the legs. Inhale, bend your knees, reverse your swan dive, sweep your arms nice and wide, fingertips stretch up toward the sky. Exhale, prayer hands coming together and down into the heart. Inhale, circle sweep your arms, widen up. Exhale, right hand to right thigh, side stretch over to the right. Inhale, come to the center. Fingertips reach high, tailbone draws down. Exhale, left hand to left thigh, side stretch over to the left. Inhale, come back to the center. And exhale, bend your knees and swan dive your body forward over your legs, folding in. Inhale, take halfway lift with your spine. Lift the belly, shoulder blades draw down the back. Exhale, fold into the legs, release and relax the head. Inhale, bend your knees, circle sweep your arms, widen up. Exhale, prayer hands come together. Draw the prayer hands down into the heart. Inhale, circle sweep the arms, widen up. Exhale, right hand to right thigh, side tilt over. Inhale, return to the center, draw the tailbone slightly down. Exhale, left hand to left thigh, side stretch over. Inhale, come to the center. Exhale, bend the knees and swan dive the body forward over the legs. Inhale, halfway lift, hands on the shins, the blocks, or the floor. We're going to exhale, frame the right foot with either the hands or the blocks. Step the left foot back into high lunge. Take a breath here. Feel the strength of your legs, right knee stacked over right ankle, the anchoring of the right foot down to the floor. Spin the back left heel down to the mat, and inhale, circle your left arm around so you rise up to warrior two. We're going to take a breath in here through the nose. Then as you exhale, we're going to do a cooling, calming breath where you blow the breath out through the mouth like you're blowing out a candle. Breathe in. You're going to keep that breath going, but add in some cactus arms. Breathe in, reach your arms up to the sky, and as you exhale, cactus your arms as you blow the breath out like you're blowing out a candle. Two more times. Inhale, reach up, exhale, cactus, blow the breath out. One more time. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, blow the breath out, cactus arms. Re-extend the arms out from the heart. Exhale, take that back arm, lift it up and over, frame the right foot, spin off the back heel, lower the back knee down to the mat. Low lunge. Hands can stay down on your blocks or inhale, circle sweep your arms out to the side and up as you draw your tailbone down. The energy rises up through the spine and the arms, but the low lunge has more of a grounding sensation as it opens the low belly, the left hip, and down through the left quadricep. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, frame your right foot, lift your back left knee away from the floor, move the block, step back into downward facing dog. Now from the downward facing dog, you can walk your toes back an inch or two. We're going to bring the hips forward, come out into plank. High push-up. Now as you exhale, lower your knees to the mat. Move the pelvis to child's pose. Press your hips back toward your heels. So feeling the quieting, calming effect of the child's pose. And then inhale, rise up. Come through a knee down lunge. And then you're going to melt your thighs as you come into cobra. A back bend, open through the chest. Take your breath in here. As you exhale, downward facing dog or table to down dog. Maybe take the wider stance with the feet. Maybe soften the knees to roll the pelvis forward, recreating the curve in the lower back. Deep inhale. Last exhale here. Inhale, bring the gaze forward, and then begin to walk your feet forward, coming into forward fold. Inhale, take halfway lift with your spine, hand on the shins. The blocks are even on the floor. Exhale, fold into the legs. Inhale, begin to bend your knees. Reverse your swan dive, rise up. Exhale, prayer hands come together, down into the heart. Inhale, circle sweep your arms around and up. As you exhale, right hand to right thigh, side stretch over to the right. Inhale, come to the center, tailbone draws down, sideways, lifts out of the pelvis. Exhale, left hand to left thigh, side stretch to the left. Inhale, come to the center. Exhale, bend the knees, swan dive the body forward over the legs. Inhale, halfway lift with the spine. Exhale, framing the left foot with the hands or the blocks, step the right foot back. Pause in the high lunge. Left knee is stacked directly over the shin bones and the left ankle. Anchor down into the left foot, maybe even lift the left 5 toes momentarily to really stabilize through the left leg. And then we're going to spin that back, right heel down to the floor, cartwheel the right arm around, come up, shoulders stack over the hips. Now we'll cultivate that cooling breath here. So inhale through the nose, exhale, blow the breath out as though you're blowing out a candle. Incorporating the cactus arms. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, cactus the arms, blow the breath out. Inhale, fingertips reach up. Exhale, cactus the arms, blow the breath out. Last one, inhale to reach. Exhale, cactus. Inhale to extend the arms. Exhale, right arm lifts up and over. Frame the left foot, spin the right heel off, lower the right knee down to the floor. Feel free to keep your hands on the blocks. in this version of the low lunge. Or draw the tailbone down and begin to inhale, circle sweep your arms wide and up. Feel the rise of the arms, the energy rising up as you draw the tailbone down and open through your right hip and through the right thigh. Breathe in. Exhale, frame your front foot. Lift your right knee, move the block, step to the downward dog. From down dog, inch your toes back 1 to 2 inches and inhale, come forward into plank. Exhale, lower your knees to the mat, press your pelvis toward your heels, fold into child's. Inhale, rise up, and we'll take that knee down plank. So lean the hips forward and then melt your thighs down. Let your heart draw through. You can always take this as a slightly lower cobra. And then as you exhale, lift the hips up and back through table to down dog or straight up into down dog. You might take your feet slightly wider, bend your knees, lengthen out through the crown of your head. Last exhalation here. Inhale, gaze forward to your hands and begin to step your feet slightly together and then forward. Inhale, halfway lift with your spine, lift the belly, reach long through the crown of your head, and then exhale, fold into the legs. Inhale, begin to bend your knees, reverse your swan dive, rise up. Exhale, prayer hands come together and down into your heart. Inhale, sweep the arms wide and up. Exhale, bend your knees and swan dive your body forward over your legs, bending the knees as much as needed. Inhale, halfway lift with your spine. Now, as you exhale, frame your right foot with the hands or the block, step the left foot back into a high lunge. Take a breath in and out here in the high lunge. After that next exhalation, then spin the back heel down to the floor, come up for warrior two. Circle your left arm around. Now, this time as you come to warrior two, we're going to bring the arms toward one another in front of the chest. You're going to cross your right arm on top. Now, a couple options. You can give yourself a hug. You can even cross the arms in front of the chest for a more mild sensation, or eagle arms. Winding the forearms or maybe forearms and hands. Now, a slight lift of the elbows away from the chest. You want to just slightly exaggerate the opening across your upper back. And then one cooling breath here. So inhale through the nose and then exhale, blow the breath out through the mouth, like you're blowing out candles. On your next inhale, unwind your arms, send your arms out from your heart, maybe gaze forward beyond your right 5 fingertips. Lift your left arm up and over, frame your right foot, lift your left heel, lower your left knee down. Now again, feel free, keep your hands on the blocks, or this time you might slide your hands up to your hips. Draw your elbows toward one another as you press the heels of your hands into the low back. So this will open through the chest. So earth, water energy sometimes collects in the chest and lungs. So heaviness across the chest or congestion in the respiratory system, but it opens up the hip and down through the quad, which helps us to ground active energy. Stay here for the last moment. You might be able to engage the palms by interlacing the palms together. Draw the palms toward one another and take a slightly deeper back bend. Last breath in. Exhale, frame your front foot. As you release your hands, lift your back knee, move the black side to the side, step back, downward facing dog. Again, we're going to do that plank child's pose flow. So inhale, roll your hips out into plank. Lower your knees to table and then press your sitting bones toward your heels, child's. Inhale, come up into a knee down plank. So adjust your pelvis forward. Roll the thighs forward. Let your heart come into cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Wide with the feet. Maybe bend the knees. creating a lot of length in your spine. Okay, last cycle of breath here. I'm gonna bring the feet a little closer together. Take the gaze toward the hands. Walk the feet forward. Bow in, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift with the spine. Lift the belly. Reach out nice and long through the crown of the head, and then exhale, fold into the legs. Inhale, bend your knees. Reverse your swan dive, rise up. Prayer hands connecting. Draw them down into the heart. Inhale, circle sweep your arms back up to the sky. Exhale, bend your knees and fold the body forward into the legs. Inhale, halfway lift with your spine. Exhale, frame the front right foot with the hands or the blocks. Take one breath here in the high lunge. Spin that back right heel down to the floor. Rise up, warrior two. We're going to bring our arms into eagle arms with the left arm on top. So cross the arms out in front of the chest. Give yourself a hug. Remember the more mild version, just crossing the forearms in front of the heart, left forearm on top, or wind the forearms, maybe wind the hands. Lift the elbows slightly, exaggerate the opening across your upper back, and then take a cooling breath. Inhale through your nose. Exhale, blow the breath out through the mouth like you're blowing out candles. Inhale, unwind your arms, re-extend the arms from your heart, gaze forward. Exhale, bring the right arm up and over. Frame your left foot, spin your right heel. Lower your right knee down to the floor. Now you can stay here. Hands can come to hips. Anchor the heels of the hands into the low back as you draw your elbow points toward one another. Open through the chest, open through the front body, down through the right hip, right thigh. Stay here. Or you can interlock the hands together, engage the palms toward one another, send the knuckles down, slightly deeper back bend. It's a little more challenging for the shoulders, so just choose the option that works best. Breathe in. Exhale, slowly release your hands down, frame the left foot. Lift your right knee. Last time, step back, down dog. Inch your toes back 1 to 2 inches so you have room for your hips. Come forward, plank pose. Exhale, lower the knees, child's pose. Move the pelvis back toward the heels. Inhale, rise up, knee down plank, melt the thighs, draw the heart through, back bend cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog or table to down dog. Go wide with your feet, bend your knees. Slow, steady breath. This is good for the lymphatic channels, the lymphatic flow. Also, this slow, steady breath helps to calm any irritation or agitation that could be present in the mind. Okay, last exhale. This time we're going to bring the feet back in line with the sitting bones, lower the knees. And as you do, go a little wider with your knees. We're going to go back to child's pose with wide knees. We're going to take a side stretch this time. So we're going to walk the arms out to the right. And we're going to stretch out nice and long through the left arm. You could even stack. Some people like to stack their left hand on top of their right. This is going to contract a little more across the right side of the body. This is where the ascending colon lies in the right side of the abdomen. So just a little bit of extra pressure there as you open through the left lung. Okay, and then come through the center. And you can reach out through your right arm. You might stack your right hand on top of your left. Inhale, come back to the center. Last cycle of breath here. Okay, we're going to come up. We're going to come back into crocodile. So you can slide your knees a little toward one another, and then just as gracefully as possible, bring the body back down. Stack your palms. Rest your forehead on your stacked palms. Remember, you can wiggle your hips from side to side or bend your knees and do a little bit of circling, windshield wiper motion. We're going to come into half frog. This is a really great pose for excess heat. So we're going to roll just a little bit to the right. You could even kind of lift your chest up just momentarily. Bend your left knee and slide your bent left knee toward your left elbow. And then you'll come back down with the head and the chest. You can keep your head turned toward the left, and we'll take about 3 rounds of breath on this side. After this exhale, you can slowly slide your left leg back out. We'll roll just a little bit to the left. Allow the chest to slightly lift. Bend your right knee and slide it up toward your right elbow. Bring the head back down. Turn the gaze to the right. Take about 3 cycles of breath. Okay, after this next exhale, slowly slide your right leg back out. Come to the center. And we're going to stay in this pose for Shavasana, but you have options. So one is you could roll to your spine and take Shavasana on your back, or feel free, you could place a bolster or pillows underneath of your ankles and your shin bones. That'll give a little more support for the low back. If you're lying on your spine, you could take the bolster or the pillows underneath the backs of your knees. That's a great option. You could even exchange this pose for seated, simple seated position that you could do more like a meditation. So find a pose that you can find some stillness. Stay aware of the sensation of the physical body for a moment and feel the natural rhythm of the breath.
Now, at your home, you can feel free to stay in meditation or shavasana for as long as you like. If you're ready to transition, we're going to make our way to seated. So, if you're on the belly, you can slide your hands under your chest, press up momentarily even to child, just giving a nice extension. You're on your spine, just roll to the right or to the left. Now come to seated. Simple cross leg. Arriving, let the prayer hands join at the heart as you sit tall. The light within me sees and bows to that same light that exists within you. Namaste.